Good morning and welcome back to the Umatilla County Conversation. It's been some time and it's a great time to get caught up with what's been going on through about late summer up until now. It's been a very busy summer for all the commissioners and the office too with our administrative assistant Lori Smith. She's been extremely busy. So let's run through some of the items that we've been covering and get you all caught up on what the commissioners at a very high level have been up to. Let's start with the ribbon cutting and opening of the Macoke-Nolan Bridge, a bridge that went out 2 years ago, was declared unusable by the state. Wasn't a bridge that was on the list for funding, but it was one that was critical to agriculture, industry, and a lot of residences on the Umatilla River in the Nolan Reeth area just above Echo. We had a great celebration.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, Lori
Great
helped.
turnout.
Yeah, Lori helped put together a great ribbon cutting, and we had food, but we had dignitaries from all over, and a lot of it was because of the way we cobbled together the funding for the bridge. We had monies from Opportunity Oregon, from ODOT, and then the county itself contributed a significant amount, and then some of the private money that the industry in that area is contributing back to the project. So it was unusual by all means, but it was a very successful project. Our hats off to our Public Works Director, Tom Fellows, for putting together just an incredibly tough project in a very short timeline. The sad part about that project was in the interim, as that bridge was closed, we did have a fatality because of that. A hay truck driver for Pacific Egg lost his life in a train truck accident, and as we continually say, our sympathies out to his family, and very much a loss to the community. The next item on the agenda was Snake River Dams. Snake River Dams, the discussion continues on eliminating or removing four of the Snake River Dams. It's a huge issue to Umatilla County. Not everybody knows the bottom line of agriculture, the movement of agriculture projects, and energy. But what people don't understand is Pendleton, I-84, Highway 11 will become inundated with traffic that we have never seen before, moving product, people, and commodities by truck that can't travel by barge anymore. And if that is the case, we'll even end up in both the Pendleton and Hermiston areas with additional rail traffic, but the rail traffic definitely cannot handle what would come out of the foothills, and the road traffic will just be extraordinary. I don't think people understand how critical the Snake River Dams are, not just to energy, but to all of our livelihoods here in Eastern Oregon. So we were very involved in that. All of the commissioners attended a congressional hearing in the Tri-Cities. I actually testified in two different hearings and was able to voice our concerns from Umatilla County. We had several congressional visits. Representative Bentz visited us. Senators Merkley and Senator Wyden and their staff have all visited us this summer, making their pass through. So those conversations are always interesting and exciting, and the ability for us to voice our concerns and some of the items that are high on the list in Umatilla County. We had a transportation town hall too, another event that Lori was very involved with and a significant partner in putting together. We had a great turnout. We look forward to having at least one more, either late fall or early spring. Our transportation town halls have touched on a lot of subjects and have been very well received by agriculture, industry, municipalities, all modes of transportation in Umatilla County. It's I say it a lot, and it's beginning to take hold and get some legs, but transportation is so critical, especially road and surface transportation in Umatilla County, that it's a pivot point for about everything we do, whether it be recreation, industry, agriculture, and just commuting in Umatilla County. Our roads, our transportation, and our traffic are critical to our progress and even maintaining where we are today. So my hat's off, and thank you to Lori for everything that you did for that project. It was a big one, and
Yes.
and we look
Great
forward.
turnout.
It was a great turnout.
Yes.
You're right, Lori, and great feedback too. The next one, another one that Lori helped with us and was able to attend, was the transfer of the CDA property, the ordinance property, over to the CDA, which Umatilla County is a partner in with Morrow County, the Port of Morrow, Port of Umatilla, and the CTUIR. What a turnout for that. That was amazing.
Yeah, there was some great speeches from the mayor, Drotzman, to Representative Smith. So it was great turnout. I think there was a lot of people from the public and from major entities. So.
Yeah, you're right. And Commissioner Schaefer is our primary seat on that board, and I'm the alternate. And so looking forward to great things coming from that. But how about the barbecue? That wasn't bad either.
That was a pretty darn good barbecue, I will say.
Nope,
It was a little warm that day, but the barbecue made it worth it.
It was. It was one of those that I was expecting 20 to 30 people, and I can't tell you how many people were there. It
I
was
bet
amazing.
there could have been close to, when they did the speeches and the ceremony, I bet it was close to at least 150.
Oh, yeah, yes, I agree. It was a lot of fun, and I think it was a great experience for all of us, to tell you.
And I think it also was a great networking event.
You're right. I never even thought about that, Lori.
Yeah,
You're right.
it was a great time for the commissioners and other dignitaries to get out there and speak to people from the public and some other entities that showed up and just have some great conversation.
I think you're right. That's a good point. Really good point. We did have a visit from the governor. All the commissioners were able to spend some time with her. We had breakfast down at Hale's Tavern in Hermiston and had what was supposed to be about a half hour turned in about 2.5 hours of conversation with her and some of her policy staff. And it was, I thought, a great conversation. Whether or not we always agree with what the governor politically or ideologically, she is the governor, and having a relationship with her does nothing but advance some of the thoughts and wishes of Eastern Oregon and especially Umatilla County. So it was enjoyable. We spent some time, like I mentioned, at Hale's having breakfast with her and her wife, and from there she visited with some of the Hispanic community in western Umatilla County and had a very lengthy discussion on the nitrate issues. From there, we went over to Echo and spent another couple of hours going through what is a big issue in Umatilla County, the flooding issues, and we looked at some of the stream bank restoration and flood prevention, and also even some state assets, the Oregon State Highway that runs through the middle of Echo and is losing its abutments too. So it was a great visit, great conversation. The next day, she actually spent time in Pendleton, and Commissioner Schaefer and Commissioner Timmons had the opportunity to have some in-depth discussion on homelessness and mental health issues, and the ability to really kind of was nice because we were able to elevate several issues, not just one. And so that was nice. We look forward to her returning. And it was really after that visit, the governor actually reached out to Eastern Oregon and invited several of us down to Salem, and we had lunch with the governor to kind of as a follow-up to some of her discussion and precursors to the other counties that she was getting ready to visit. So that was definitely a kind of a change or a direction that this governor's taken that recently past governors haven't. reaching out to the counties and having those conversations. Like I said, whether we disagree on, and we do, on topics, we at least have the ability to have the conversation. And I think being heard, being able to see and educate her from our point of view was huge. And I look forward to continuing that. Next item has been an ongoing item from several years, like 30. And if you even go back further, all the way back to 1906, some identification of nitrates in drinking water in what we call the LGWAMA, the Lower Umatilla Basin Groundwater Management Area. It's a designated groundwater management area, actually in two different areas. One is the shallow aquifer and the reduction of the ability to have water available to both industry and residents, and then also the nitrate concentration on the safety issue. We've had a lot of conversations. Both Umatilla and Morrow County have done an extremely good job of getting out into the community, testing wells, finding out where the real clusters of nitrate issues are. And along with OHA, who has now started their own well testing program funded by the state, along with the state funding of hardware, which when I say that, I mean reverse osmosis filtering systems and soft water systems to treat the nitrogen in the water so that we have a reduction down below the 7 ml threshold. That's a huge topic. It's tough to get into right here, but just rest assured that your commissioners, I sit on the LGWAMA committee, very involved in it, but the commissioners actually, both financially and time-wise, are very committed to finding not just solutions, but making sure that our focus is on making sure people are drinking clean water. Hats off to our both our Community Development Director, Bob Walders, and Umatilla County Health, Joe Famura, on their leadership. They've been recognized for their leadership on this issue, and they continue to kind of help and steer this solution-oriented kind of path. I'm going to say there's a lot of tentacles to get you onto the path of solutions, and they really do kind of help us lead that. The Eastern Oregon Summit in La Grande, that's put on by the Eastern Oregon Women's Business Group, great success. Both Commissioner Schaefer and myself were on panels and made presentations. It's always great to get caught up, especially in the middle of the busy summer, that you get the chance to catch up with legislators and other commissioners from around the state where you normally wouldn't this time of year because of all the events that go on locally. And it's always nice to get caught up with some of the leaders throughout Eastern Oregon that, again, you just don't have time to do this time of year. And so that Eastern Oregon Women Business Summit has been a success, continues to be a success, and I look forward to participating in them for years to come. My hat's off to Representative Bobby Levy and her whole crew, that whole group, that whole board of directors. Very high level, and they do just an incredible job. The next item, it is Umatilla County's celebration, and
Yes.
it was a success.
100% a success, yes.
The Umatilla County Fair and the Farm City Pro Rodeo. I've been involved for a lot of years, but it was just an amazing year. The crowds, the early entertainment, even starting on Wednesday.
Yes.
To see the number of people that went to the concert that night, it was kind of mind-boggling, kind of like twice what it used to be at the old grounds. And then the animals themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on, we did some record breaking this year, right?
We did record breaking in everything from attendance to food sales to animals, number of animals. But the biggest record of all was the livestock sale,
Yes.
which is critical to the youth in Umatilla County. We not only had more animals, but we had a higher average price per pound per animal. So we set records there. And we're breaking records that we never dreamed of reaching and never dreamed that we would ever be able to break again. But the final numbers are starting to come in from that auction, and at 1.34 million, it's just an astounding number. I always tell this story so people get tired of hearing it, but it was about, 28, 29, 30 years ago. Don Miller and I sat in the barns after a Saturday livestock auction, and we told each other that, and I think the auction that year was at about $52,000. We told each other that we will find a way to get to $75,000 auction.
Well, you're way past that now.
Thanks to a lot of people, but our hats off to Marie Linnell and what she does with that livestock committee and the fair board, how they prepped that. It was beyond first class with the big screen and everything live. And every year we say this, and we really mean it, thanks to the Hermiston High School for live streaming that. And this year they went over and beyond the auction. They live streamed every confirmation, every showmanship, every judging. It was first class and big time.
I think that just helps, reach even more of a bigger audience. There's some people who, still have to be at work, but they really want to partake in the fair and the showings and stuff like that, and that allows them to do that. So I think that's huge. Or, family that doesn't live in the area, but they want to see their grandchildren or their kids or nieces and nephews be able to show, and that's a great way to do that.
Great point, Lori. And to that end, we continue to have the livestock auction online.
Yes.
So, and it's fun. It's made it actually. I just added that next level or next step up in the experience because it is real time, and so. You might have like you mentioned, a grandparent bidding on an animal and a different grandparent bidding on that same animal, and not even be there.
Yes.
And so it's allowed a lot of new options, and the success is just incredible. Hats off to Angie McNally, our fair manager, and again the whole fair board and the time and the effort they put in to make those grounds look the way they do. And it is just like I say, we always fight above our weight class. Umatilla County Fair, we're the 16th largest in the state, but we're in the number 3 county fair. So hats off to everybody in Umatilla County and the region. And let's not forget the Farm City Pro Rodeo. Thursday night, I think it was the Cowboy Channel. It's televised live. And on Thursday night, the Cowboy Channel called the steer wrestling the greatest single performance of any event in rodeo history. They in Umatilla County at the Farm City, the steer wrestling, you had the first three steer wrestlers went 3-3, 3-4, 3-3, and they were all from Oregon, and one was from Hermiston and one was from Baker, and it didn't stop there for the rest of that performance. It was just an amazing night in the steer wrestling and all the other events too. But it was, like they say, it was a historical night.
That always makes it fun when it's someone local that we can cheer on and hope they do well and succeed in those kinds of events.
Yeah, and Dalton Massey that we're talking about, still number 1 in the world in steer wrestling. So it is something that means a lot locally and regionally for sure. So. Yes, Umatilla County Fair and Farm City Pro Rodeo. We'll definitely have to have a show just on that, and bring in Angie and some of the others to have that discussion for sure. But let's not forget all of the other celebrations that go on and have gone on and continue to go on throughout Umatilla County. We had Hodaka Days, Caledonian Days. Again, Caledonian Days had record crowds and record participants. Pioneer Days in Weston, always a great celebration, always kind of a neat look back. Camas Prairie Convention in Ukiah, the Ukiah Rodeo.
That just is getting bigger and
Bigger
bigger.
and bigger, 3 years, and look where it is today. It just is, that's always one that makes me smile. And all the people that put in the work to make Ukiah Prairie Convention a huge success
Yes.
in a very small community. And small communities, Adams Day. That's early in, or late in the spring, early in the summer, and the turnout for that just gets bigger and bigger. And that with the work they've done on the Little League fields and the park, that community really is looking at how can they make their town more and more beautiful. It's one of the neatest little towns in Oregon for
Yes.
sure. Umatilla Landing Days, always a celebration, gets bigger and bigger. And let's not forget that Umatilla has an event coming in October.
Rock the Locks.
Rock the Locks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be quite the event.
I'm interested to see how that turns out. The closer it gets, I know David Stockdale, the manager of Umatilla, I know he gets a little more nervous each time I see him. So
Yes.
I think that they bit off a lot, and I think that they're willing to take it on, and I'm looking forward to them just having a great success. So Rock the Locks in Umatilla in October. The Blue Mountain Festival, Blues Festival, Milton Free Water participates in that. But let's not forget that Milton Free Water has their Friday night events. I got to participate and be a pie judge.
That's the best kind of judge.
That is. That's better than I shouldn't say this. I've judged the best looking baby contest. Don't ever do that. Especially if you want to run for office. Don't ever do that. But judging apple pies was a lot of fun, and they had a lot of entries. And my wife and I were able to purchase one of them and bring it home, and it was as good as I judged. And I didn't judge that one number one, but I'll tell you what, after eating several pieces of it, but it was a lot of fun. Lots of vendors at those. Milton Free Water is just they're downtown, and their Chamber of Commerce, Mary Elizabeth, has just stepped up the game over there. It's just been fun every time we go over there for Friday nights.
It's really blooming again.
Oh, geez, is it ever? That's a good way to put it, Lori. It really is. Wheat Stock in Helix. Again, another event, another festival that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, without any doubt. Whiskey Fest, another great success in Pendleton, along with all of the other successes and tourist attractions and visitor attractions that Pendleton has going throughout the summer, all the way from the motorcycle rally to Whiskey Fest to the Cowboy
Jackalope
Jamboree, the Cowboy all of those things, and they're also their weekend celebrations, and so hats off to Pendleton, just done a great job this summer. We've spent our time over here, and it's definitely been fun, but kind of really the meat and bones of Umatilla County is all the different farmers markets that happen. Some are smaller, some are larger. The Echo Farmers Market combined with Stanfield's, we were just there last Saturday afternoon, and it's
quite a crowd.
It is. It's getting bigger and bigger. Hermiston's obviously still stays, even with the new operators, grows and grows. I'm not sure what they're going to do because they're out of room, and so they're going to have some reconsideration on how, because I think that we counted over 60 vendors, and there just really isn't where they are. So I think that the Hermiston Downtown Association has done a great job of kind of letting them spill over with vendors and whatnot. But the farmers markets throughout Umatilla County, we had some folks in for a conference in Boardman looking for melons and some peppers. And there wasn't one in Boardman, so we kind of scrambled. And Umatilla, the roadside produce stand in Umatilla, we called them up. They actually brought some stuff over for the speakers, even the roadside vendors, the melons and produce vendors, it's been amazing the lines that you see in those. I know that there's one that pops up. I think it's either Wednesday evening or Thursday evening in the Ace parking lot in Hermiston, and I drove by there the other day, and they had them backed up onto 395, the cars. But it is a huge benefit, a huge boost to all of our local farmers, whether it be a half-acre person or a backyard gardener, or if it's your livelihood. The melons this year have been incredible. The vegetables have been out of this world. The peppers. Every year it seems like they have like 5 new breeds of peppers.
Well, and it makes people want to go back to, eating local. They make that connection with that vendor at the local farmers market, and then they decide, you know what, that was so good, that locally produced pepper or melon, I'm going back to that specific stand. And it creates that relationship and builds that, community spirit.
It really does, Lori, and that's a good way to put it. I really like that. One of my favorite times this summer is each summer the Hermiston Kiwanis Club takes time out one evening, and with the Pendleton Kiwanis Club, we actually host the foster families and their kids for a barbecue and a swim party at the Hermiston Aquatic Center. And first of all, it's always good to see the Pendleton Kiwanians. They're all friends and get caught up. But it also is just a fun time for us to be able to serve these foster families who do so much for these foster kids and the outreach that they do. So I'd probably put that, if I had a gold star, that one of my funnest evenings out of a summer full of incredible evenings and events. I think that one's been the funnest one so far. So as we wrap up the Umatilla County conversation, I'm going to reach out to Lori and see what was your favorite so far this summer.
Well, that is definitely a hard one. I think I am new to the Umatilla County Fair. I've only been there about half a day 2 years ago. So I got to spend some time down there and really get to see how everything sort of rolls and goes. And I think that was probably the most fun for me so far this summer.
I can't argue that one. It's all, people know me.
Yeah.
So,
and you can't beat the food at the fair.
That's
so that's
right.
also
That's right.
a big
That's right.
plus. So.
And don't ever let them lose that donut trailer.
Yes, I had about 4 of those. So.
I know. Every night, my wife and I, about 10 o'clock, would go down there and have a different style of that. And,
yeah.
And again, at a local vendor. They're from Milton Free Water, and they also, talking to the gals, they're starting to come over to the farmers market in Hermiston every week. So,
yeah.
Yes,
building
good point.
those connections. So.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Well, let's wrap up. I thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and look forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.